beautiful soul. Welcome. This is Rochelle with the Healing Rose, and I'm taking a quick peek at the Wisdom of the Oracle Pocket Edition from Colette Baron Reed. Artwork is Jenna Della Grataglia. All right, let's get this open. So it's very sticky. I had started already opening it, and these glossy boxes, they are my biggest pet peeve. Until you actually stretch them a little bit each way, they will stick and stick and stick. I've actually had to take little filing, like a little nail file emery board, and file down the inside of several boxes that have the glossy cover on them because they're just such a little pain. All right, so Wisdom of the Oracle Pocket Edition. When I looked at it, because I did open it very quickly and then put the lid on, which I shouldn't have because I know better. We have our essential meanings, the Oracle message, relationship, prosperity, and protection. And at first glance, it actually does seem to have all of the information that we have in the big book. And it is quite a chunky little book. We just have a much smaller font used in the book. Okay, so I wanted to compare it side by side because I noticed right away that the card number one actually, they're different images. So I put my original in order. So now my original has been altered. It, I could not stand the white borders. I hated them. So I did go and trim it. So it is actually smaller than original size. The original size is your typical Hay House cardstock size. Let me grab one out of here because this is what's nearby. All right, so your typical Hay House cardstock size is this size. Basically the same size as the guidebook that comes with it. And the borders were just so massive. So I trimmed off the big white borders. And since they've redone the artwork, I'm really curious as to why they felt like they needed to leave those giant white borders. It does nothing to enhance the cards, in my opinion. And I think we would have benefited from having the artwork go all the way to the edges because it is so small. It would have been nice to actually see it full size. Okay, so let's bring you in here a little bit. Let me center this a little bit more and bring you down here so we can see the differences as we go through the deck. So our Yang card, we've just changed hands. Really, we've gone from a more masculine looking hand to a more feminine looking hand. And instead of offering something, they are uplifting. All right. Definitely, I am noticing that the artwork is much paler. It's much softer. Our Between Worlds is the same. Higher Power is the same. So I was really kind of curious how many cards might have changed in the deck. And I know she did this when she redid the map. She tried to, I guess her intent was to just make it more inclusive, and so she changed some cards. I guess there wasn't enough men being depicted in the deck, so she added some men in, and then she added some more individuals of color into the deck. So for the most part, I'm feeling like these are pretty much the same. Definitely a much lighter cards as we go through. I feel like if I actually trim these down, it would be a really adorable tiny deck. So I might actually trim this version. I don't know. Let's see as we go through. Okay, so the Fates is different. Very different. We still have the stars woven through. But we've changed. Although the hair is the same, that's quite interesting. Same hairstyle. Just this is more sort of open posture, and this is definitely like a more closed off posture, which is an interesting choice. Serendipity, we have the same. We're still flexible. imagine. All right, so blessed has changed, which is interesting. I did love the vibrant purple of this card. Interesting that we've switched to the peach tones and we're facing different directions. This almost appears, and you know, are the eyes closed? We're just looking off into the distance. We're a little bit more zen with the prayer hands, whereas this is relaxed and enjoying the blessings. And I think like there's a little face here, and I'm not really sure. Is there a little face in there? There might be. But again, it's really tiny, which is a frustration for me because I would have liked to have, like when she switched from the original enchanted map, we went from having borders to having no borders, which I thought was really quite brilliant. Okay, so happy is changed. Exchanging gifts. Interesting because this is like, here's the key. You've got this egg of opportunity and there's a keyhole there, like there's something for you to unlock or discover. And this one, it's just a smiling face in the egg. So it's more than just changing postures. Interesting choices that have been made here. All right. All right, so we've changed to breathe. And we have a little lotus, little kind of almost like a lily pad little dish there. And I find it interesting because there's none of these raggedy banners on the original, that they chose to add that in. Because I do prefer the cards without the ragged banners, if I'm honest. That was always kind of like a, why is that in there? When I looked at the original, I was like, what's with the banners? I mean, you know, they don't really quite fit. So we have the leg up, we have our little polar bears, our little owls. We have come to the edge, much lighter. So they've definitely lightened up the deck. The never-ending story. To be fair. New life. I think some of these changes are really from some of the criticism that she received earlier on. And so I'm assuming, listened to some of those critiques and made the changes that she felt suited the energies of the deck. Why the borders though? That is interesting. Regeneration. Go the distance. Poised. Observer. I do like this little fox with his little... we have no place like home. Milk and honey. And mending. So there's not a lot of cards that changed. I was quite curious about it when I first realized there was some shifts that happened. So interesting. Let us pop the camera back out so we can take a look. Maybe we could try. I don't even know if I want to try to shuffle. I already know when they're this small, they don't actually like to ruffle shuffle this way. They just come apart and they're glossy, so they're slippy. So it is going to be a case of simply overhand shuffling. So my initial thoughts are that it is a very soft, light looking deck. And I think it's interesting if you were going to soften it up and lighten it up so much. I find it really interesting they've chosen to keep the borders when they did remove them from the enchanted map, when they did the upgrades to that and changed some of the cards. I do find it interesting that she is revisiting her decks and changing out cards as she's upgrading them. So that is quite interesting here and now. It's very cute. I mean, it is kind of adorable. And these cards are fully half the size of the original. So the original cards are this size. I mean, mine is clearly trimmed down. But if you take your cards, let's just take 2 of them, and put them side by side, they are basically exactly half the size of what's going on with the original size deck. So interesting. I find it really interesting the way that they've shifted. When they first started doing the pocket decks, they were coming in the tin, which I quite loved. I love the cards in the tin. And what a difference between Spirit Animal and this, in that we could have had, they had such an opportunity here to, I think, I feel it's a lost opportunity. Why? But, you know, that's just me. I don't love gloss and I don't love borders unless the border adds some beautiful, you know, if it's artistic and it actually adds to the design of the card and it gives us something. These big white borders, though, they do nothing for me. So it is very cute. I do like the little deck, and it will fit really lovely, I'm sure. In a, you know, if you have a cute little pouch that doesn't fit the great big Oracle decks, and you just want something that you can tuck in your pocket and go. And because this is a deck that's been out a year for, you know, years, it's easy. Like, a lot of people are familiar with it. A lot of people will have read with it. So it's nice to have something you can just tuck in your bag, tuck in your pocket, and have it go with you. I think that's a brilliant size that they're doing them this way. Am I going to keep this version because my own version's already considerably smaller? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to keep this little one or if I'm going to pass it along, but it's definitely cute. So I hope you've enjoyed this little look at the deck and comparison to the original. And if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day and a wonderful week. Take care.